Imagine a time before writing, before books, before carved inscriptions on stone, when sacred wisdom was carried not by ink or parchment, but by living voices, passed from teacher to student, father to son, sage to disciple, in endless chains of memory, rhythm, and devotion. Picture a dawn where priests gathered around the fire, the flames flickering against the dark of the forest, chanting words that echoed through the night, words believed not to be human invention, but divine revelation. These words, older than most civilizations, would come to be known as the Vedas, the oldest sacred texts of India, the hymns and songs that gave birth to Hinduism and that still resonate more than 3,000 years later in temples, rituals, and meditations across the world. The Vedas are not just books. They are the earliest echoes of a spiritual vision that shaped one of the world's most enduring religions. Derived from the Sanskrit root vid, meaning to know, the word Veda itself means knowledge, sacred knowledge that was heard, or śruti, by the ancient seers known as ṛishis. These hymns, mantras, and prayers are believed to have been received in states of deep meditation, not composed by human minds, but revealed by the eternal cosmic order. For centuries, the Vedas were transmitted orally, preserved with astonishing precision through memorization, melody, and rhythm. The sages believed that the sounds themselves, not merely their meanings, carried divine power. To speak a Vedic hymn was not simply to recite, it was to participate in cosmic creation, to align the human voice with the eternal vibration of the universe. The four Vedas, Rigveda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, and Atharva Veda, together form the foundation of Hinduism. They contain hymns to gods like Agni, the fire, Indra, the warrior, Varuna, the cosmic order, and Soma, the sacred drink. They describe rituals, sacrifices, and chants, but also deep philosophical reflections that would later unfold into the Upanishads. The dawn of Hinduism, therefore, is not the story of a single founder, but of countless voices, countless generations who preserved and expanded a vision of life where the human and the divine are inseparably bound. The story of the Vedas begins with the Indo-Aryans, pastoral people who migrated into the Indian subcontinent around 1500 BCE. Carrying with them their rituals, gods, and chants, they settled along the fertile plains of the Indus and Ganges. Their world was one of fire sacrifices, cattle wealth, rivers and skies, and their hymns reflect this intimate connection to nature. The earliest and most important of the texts, the Rigveda, is a collection of over 1,000 hymns. Each hymn, or sukta, is a song of praise, a plea for blessing, or a meditation on cosmic order. The hymns praise Agni, the fire god who carries offerings to the heavens, Indra, the thunder-wielding warrior who slays the serpent Vritra and releases the waters, and Varuna, the guardian of Rta, the eternal law that holds the cosmos together. These hymns were chanted at dawn, during sacrifices where fire, butter, and grain were offered, linking earth to heaven. The priests believed that when they sang the hymns, the gods themselves listened, the universe responded, and balance was maintained. But the Vedas were not static. They grew, they transformed, and they expanded into new collections. The Samaveda arranged the hymns into musical chants, the very roots of Indian classical music. The Yajurveda gave detailed instructions on how to perform sacrifices, specifying gestures, offerings, and prayers. The Atharva Veda, later in origin, included charms, spells, and philosophical musings, showing how the Vedic spirit embraced both ritual and reflection. To live in the Vedic world was to live in a universe of ritual. The central act was the yajna, the fire sacrifice, where offerings of milk, butter, soma, and grains were poured into the fire, transforming material into spiritual essence. The fire, Agni, was the mediator, the messenger who carried prayers to the gods. Ritual was not superstition, but cosmic participation. By performing sacrifice correctly, humans upheld the cosmic order, ensuring rain, fertility, prosperity, and harmony. Kings performed grand sacrifices to legitimize their rule, while households performed daily offerings to sustain life. Yet within these rituals lay questions. What is the true power of sacrifice? Is it the offering itself, the words spoken, or the faith of the sacrificer? These questions would eventually lead to profound philosophical insights. As centuries passed, some sages began to look beyond the external rituals and asked deeper questions. What is the source of the universe? Who are we beyond body and name? What is the meaning of life and death? From this reflection arose the Upanishads, the sitting-near texts, where students sat near the teacher and received teachings of profound wisdom. While technically part of the Vedic tradition, the Upanishads shifted focus from ritual to knowledge, meditation, and realization. Here we find the great concepts of Hindu philosophy, Brahman, the infinite, eternal reality, the essence of all; Atman, the inner self, the soul, the spark of the divine within; Moksha, liberation from the cycle of birth and death. The Upanishads declared, Tattvam asi, that thou art. The self within is not separate from the cosmos. The human and divine are one. Thus, the Vedic tradition, born in fire and ritual, blossomed into one of the deepest spiritual philosophies in history. The Vedas remain living texts, chanted in temples, studied in ashrams, and respected as the eternal foundation of Dharma. They are not relics, but rivers of wisdom still flowing. Hindu rituals, yoga philosophy, meditation practices, and concepts of karma, dharma, and moksha all trace their lineage to these ancient hymns. Even today, when a Vedic mantra is spoken, it is believed that the same vibration that resonated thousands of years ago still reverberates, connecting past to present, human to divine. The story of the Vedas is not only the story of Hinduism, but of humanity's longing to understand its place in the cosmos. Born in forests and fire altars, carried in voices through generations, the Vedas represent the power of sound, the endurance of memory, and the vision of a people who saw the divine in every river, every flame, every breath. At their heart, the Vedas tell us that the universe is not chaos but order, not silence but song, not emptiness but fullness. They remind us that life itself can be sacred, that every act, word, and thought can be aligned with the eternal. The dawn of Hinduism was the dawn of a vision, that to know the divine one must listen to the fire, to the wind, to the chants of sages, and to the stillness of the self. That listening, that sacred hearing, is the essence of the Vedas, the oldest sacred texts, and one of humanity's greatest treasures.